Hi, my name is Parthiban and I'm from Leaderonomics India, and today we are talking to Abhishek, the co-founder of FlexiLoans. Thank you, Abhishek, for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You have a very interesting background, and you are kind of get into the FinTech. So why don't you give a little bit overview on what the FinTech is? I know it's a very hot topic in India.
Yeah.
So a little bit overview about the FinTech.
So if you look at it, FinTech is essentially the amalgamation of finance and technology. So the way it has worked across, if you look at the top 5 companies about 20 years ago in the world, there will be companies like Cisco, IBM, Intel, Toyota, Nokia. And today when you look at the top 5 companies, that's Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook. So world has moved towards technology. And that's where technology starts going into core functions like finance and start disrupting them. And that's what is where FinTech is born. Okay. So anything that you do in the financial services space today, and traditionally there is key things like lending, then there is payments, moving money from A to B, then there is wealth management. And technology has completely disrupted these core traditional financial services.
Yes.
And that's where FinTech comes in. Okay. So FinTech is essentially a way to use technology to make financial services better, cheaper or faster.
Awesome. Okay.
So that's what FinTech is.
And one of the things I've learned about you is you actually spent 6 years in London.
Yes.
And so such a beautiful country. What a nice place. Why did you choose to come back to India? I mean, a lot of people go and they never come back. So what was your reason?
Look, I mean, coming back to a country like India is never a rational or a logical decision. It's always an emotional decision. No matter how much I try, I won't be able to argue in favor of quality standards and things like that. What brings you home is home. So it's effectively a bunch of friends that we all got together. We said there's an idea. My wife and I always wanted to come back, but wanted a big reason to come back. And coming back home and starting something where you could make a material difference to the fabric of the society. That's what kind of my biggest intention was. And today, every day, what we think is, have we made a difference in somebody else's life? And we're now mid-aged, so we're not young college graduates who are more kind of impulsive. So my entire decision process was simple, that I'm at a point of time where I want to be closer to friends, family, and I want to make a difference to the society. Wow. And that's what brought me back to India.
Excellent. And tell me a little bit more about the FlexiLoans. I mean, how did you all 4 came together, and
yes,
what was the thought? What is actually the vision and purpose of this loan, this company?
So the core purpose of FlexiLoans is to provide financial access at a click to small businesses in India. If you look at it, there are about 6 crore SMEs in India, and these small businesses are typically people who have one shop, 1 or 2 employees in their shop, and interestingly, they contribute to about 65% of industrial output in the country. A big proportion of GDP comes from them. And when you look at when you go one level deeper, you'll realize 90% of businesses in India do not have access to formal financing. And by formal financing, I mean they can go into a bank branch and say, I need a loan, and they will get a loan with a high level of accuracy. So this is what we're trying to. So India has traditionally been a Jaan Pehchan based borrowing model. I know the bank manager knows a friend, and so I'll get a loan. We are trying to disrupt that and say, let's bring that Jaan Pehchan to digital methods. Okay. So can a small business owner sitting in Panipat, when he needs a 2 lakh rupee loan, can he remain in his shop, download a mobile application, come to FlexiLoans platform, give all his information, upload the documents, and get money the same day into his bank account. Okay. Now that's an experience that we are trying to create. Okay. It's almost like when you used to buy shoes 20 years ago, the process was as it is today about getting a loan. You'd have to go to a shop, go to 5 shops, compare, and then you like, don't like, and then you buy something at the end of 20 days. Okay. But what we are trying to do is convert that borrowing experience into a buying experience. So you go to a website or mobile application of FlexiLoans, you do something, you get a loan, and if you're deserving, you continue to get a loan from FlexiLoans.
Yeah. So this is one of the most challenging industry, or let's say the sector, right? Because the government is holding very tight, banks, RBI. I'm sure you would have faced a lot of challenges. It's not that easy to make through this. So tell me a little bit one of the challenges, and how did you overcome that?
I mean, a lot of people think that regulatory landscape in India is very difficult. If you look at RBI and their view towards FinTech, it's actually they're one of the most advanced regulatory institutions in the world. So RBI is not really creating a resistance for companies like us to grow. In fact, all that you've seen in terms of launch of NBFCs and the launch of payment banks is an attempt towards bringing more financial inclusion in the country. Having said that, you always have to work within the regulations. I spent a lot of time in London, and I can clearly contrast the difference between how an Indian consumer is treated versus how a Western consumer is treated by various lending institutions. So we still a long way to go, but I only think that regulations can be more strict when it comes to consumer protection than what it is today. From a financial management standpoint, RBI is great. We are still they are also forming regulations as we go, so they're also learning. See what we invent. So if you look at it, artificial intelligence today has no law around it, right? If a driverless car is going to hit someone, who's to blame and how?
Yes.
So regulations are being created on the back of inventions. We are inventing things, and RBI will follow with regulations to make sure consumer is protected.
Okay. So, and there are many startups coming up in India, right? So what advice would you give them in terms of, I'm sure you still have gone through some challenges startup. It's not that easy just to start up and you just, and you have kind of a successful startup. So can you share some of those insights and some of those your experiences?
I'll give my insights based on Indian context.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Because things work very differently from a startups when you look at India versus others. So don't build a product for your investors. Okay, build a product for the customer. Because at the end of the day, a startup is born because they are supposed to solve the problem of a customer. Okay, Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, he says that customers can't innovate, and so they give that responsibility to entrepreneurs to innovate on their behalf. And it has a lot of meaning to it. So one of the things that entrepreneurs should never forget is that they're solving the problem of customer and not anybody else. Second is the funnel from a startup to a successful enterprise is very, very steep. Okay, people drop off at various stages, and one of the biggest reasons is thinking ahead and persistence towards it. So success doesn't come easy, it doesn't come cheap, it doesn't come fast. So being patient and being able to stay truly on to that problem that you're out to solve will definitely bear results. And the third is, which I believe from our own success, is that it's good to have friends around.
Okay.
So it's good to have a couple of people who you really trust, you can work together, because it's a multi-cylinder engine. You're not the only one who's pulling the car, but there is a bunch of cylinders who are firing. So if you're down, somebody else picks up the baton and move forward. So having a group of friends, I think, gives you extra confidence.
Okay, right. Thank you so much, Abhishek, really for your
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
insights. So thank you.